Good evening, one and all. I'm not going to keep you long at all. I know it's New Year. I've got things to do, and I know you have as well. Well, I say I've got things to do. We've got crisps, we got chocolate, we got cake. I've got the kids in there. They want but not just ask for one film. They want two films. So it's a bit of a daddy's evening in with the kids to see in New Year. The reason for doing this video, you can probably see from the title. This was actually going to be tomorrow's lunchtime video, but I really want tomorrow to just be about the game. I don't want to deal with any of this at all during tomorrow. Myself and Gio, we're going to do a build up to the game. We're going to do a review to the game, and that's what we'll be doing tomorrow, because this is more bad news. Now, tomorrow may or may not be bad news. We don't know. It depends on the result. But I do want tomorrow to be about the result. You've probably seen from the title anyway that a new march has been planned. I say a march, it's a static protest. Now, the details are on our forum on hammerschat.com, and the details are also on Knees Up Mother Brown, and the link I've already put to that in the description below. Now, I'm going to read you the statement, and the protest is being organised by Hammers United. Hammers United, for those of you who don't know, they're a growing supporters group. And they are some group that have been striving to get heard by the club. But obviously, I actually think Hammers United are there as a direct result of the club's quite stringent policy on only dealing with the OSB. I don't get into all this politics. I hate it. I'm going to skim over this now because I tell you what, I hate it. I hate a whole lot of it. But the club can consider themselves completely responsible for what's about to happen. I think you may well remember from when we did our 24-hour stream. You may well remember that Paul Colburn from Hammers United came on and he spoke very, very well. He's known as Bubbles. He came onto the pitch, remember, planted the flag in the middle. That's who's organising all of this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you his statement. I'm going to do it right now. And then we'll go from there. He says, "Good morning, fellow Hammers." Clearly not good morning now, but he wrote it earlier. "On what is the last day of yet another year of disappointment for our fan base, I sit here with mixed emotions as I look back upon the year. I'm immensely proud of the work my committee and I have put in since the inception of Hammers United in February of this year, and the thousands of man hours which has seen our group swell to over 7,000 members. We've strived over that period to create a group for all Hammers fans united in their love for the great West Ham. We are all regular fans, volunteers with jobs, families, and everyday responsibilities like you. But such was the apathy and frustration of our supporters in the aftermath of the failed protest in 2018, I believe that something had to be done. So in time-honoured fashion, I rallied the troops. The end of the year is often a good time to reflect, and what I have noticed is that on some quarters seem to have forgotten the roots of West Ham and its supporters. This is a club whose supporters survived abject poverty in the old East End, whose founding fathers built warships on the cut-in winds of the Bow Creek shipyard, who've made great personal sacrifice to go on strike, achieve better pay conditions, leading Arthur Hills to create the sports, social and leisure facilities from which our great club was born. How disappointed he would be to see this disgraceful displacement of thousands of time-served fans of the club with associations that go back generations, many to those very shipyards who have paid the ultimate price for the scandalous manner in which the transition from our spiritual home, the bowling ground Upton Park, a few miles across the borough to the Olympic Park in Stratford, has been handled." Excuse me, let me just scroll down. "The price of affording a casual armchair types the next generation of fans that David Sullivan has stated he wants to introduce to football as he strives to grow the fan base should never have been the heart and soul of our loyal supporters football club, who are throwing it in their thousands. It breaks my heart to see it. Fathers, sons, mothers, daughters, mates who have sang side by side and travelled the country together, unable to recognise the club they love and being discarded like old rubbish. The promises made by those custodians of the club of next level football and a stadium fitting of a top six club, the ability to attract the very best players and a home which we'd all be proud of, the 10-point plan laid out to win hearts and minds, statements made claiming to understanding the responsibilities that come with having to deliver such promises to the fans and working with them, they remain undelivered. Our great club is nowhere near the next level." it goes on. I only stop because I am not a great one. I'm not a brilliant reader. First and foremost. Secondly, I'm not a great one of reading and doing this on a video. They have had enough. They have absolutely had enough with how the club have been run. Now, there is a protest. I need to probably get back to that, so I'm going to skip a little bit. And it says, as we reach the end of the year, Hammers United, thousands of our members and many more thousands have had enough. Let me be clear, we will always support the team and we wish our manager the best of luck. But today, as the year ends, the time has come for the custodians of our club to be held accountable by its long-suffering supporters. You will be aware that we have been inundated with requests to protest and take action against the current custodians of the club, and how seriously we take our positions of responsibility. After much consideration and exploration with our legal advisors, the police and the FSA, and in an effort to avoid any unsavoury repeats of the past, as chairman of Hammers United, I can confirm that we are holding a static protest at the home game against Everton on Saturday, the 18th of January. This is in parallel with our ongoing efforts to establish a change through dialogue with the club. They're meeting with them again shortly, apparently. They're going to release full details of the protest the 18th of January. Right. Before I go any further on this and what Hammers United are doing, I want to get one thing very, very clear. So I want to nail my hammers. I want to nail what I want to do. I want to hammer my nails. I want to nail my colours to the mast. I've got me hammers and me nails and me colours and me flags all mixed up at the moment, all right? I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to tell you exactly where I stand on this. Because unfortunately, it's once bitten, twice shy with all this, because we have had the promise of protests today. We've had promise of protests yesterday, and we've had a promise of protests in moons gone by. And I am absolutely... okay, let's get something right. Hammers chat, because we will get asked about this. Whenever it happens, we get asked about this constantly. So let me nail it down. Hammers chat is not some thing, some title that speaks for everybody. We're a group of individuals. You know, like when people put a disclaimer, these are not necessarily the views held by Hammers chat or whatever. Big companies do it, or a newspaper might do it. Hammers chat is not a sentient entity. It's a group of separate people, and we all have our own opinions, and that's it. It's really as simple as that, really. So I will not speak for Gio, I will not speak for Charlie, I will not speak for Mike. No, I will not do it in any way, shape or form. I might have an inkling how they might think and how they might respond to it, but this is very much about what I think about it. So the first thing I'll be asking is, will I be attending this static protest? The answer is no. No, I won't. I'll give you a very good reason why. Because on that day, this is when we planned our CPR training. You may well remember that we unfortunately had somebody had a cardiac arrest on the boat. So God bless him, Danny, passed away a week later. We asked you, and you kindly donated the money for our defibrillator, which sits proudly with Danny's name upon it on the boats. It's there now. If anything unfortunate were to happen again, hopefully we'll be able to respond quickly. But there's a few of us who need to know how to work out how to use it. So Emily has very kindly offered to get involved and help with CPR training, when we're hoping to provide not just ourselves but other people. This is all part of it. It's a big day for Hammers Chat that day, and we are and we'll be continuing to do precisely that. In terms of the march itself, I'm very much once bitten, twice shy. And I am sorry, it's just popped up in it. Andy Walsh said Hammers Chat is a community. We absolutely are a community, and I wouldn't even dream to speak to any one of you. I'll speak to all of you, but I wouldn't speak on behalf of any one of you. I wouldn't proclaim to be the voice of you lot. I wouldn't claim to be any different to any one of you. So this is not what we're about at all. We are not here to be militant. We are not here to organise or listen. We literally can organise a piss up in a boat, but that's about all we can organise. So with that in mind, I am once bitten, twice shy, because the last march that was planned, and you haven't heard the full story. about that, by the way. One day that may well come. You're certainly not going to hear it from me, by the way. But one day that all the dirt will come out on all of that, and it won't look too clever, I've got to say. But when it got towards near the end, everybody was encouraged to organise their travel down. People were organised to get flags printed up. A lot of people had a lot of things invested in that march, and then it got cancelled. And there were a lot of people very, very disappointed they got cancelled. We knew people on the forum that had booked their travel up from it, that had come halfway across the country. There was even some people that had come from overseas. They felt so strongly against the owners that they really wanted to mobilise and come to this march. I know several people who spent well over 100 quid just getting flags printed. I know some people, in terms of travel, flags, everything else, spent £300-400 only for the march to be cancelled. Not only was the march cancelled, there were some people who were then threatened if they were then to go upon the march afterwards. And the whole thing was a complete mess. And the reasons you had the protest inside the ground, because the march didn't go ahead. And I thought the whole thing was a complete shambles. And certainly Hammers Chat's name was dragged through the mud in a way that I was never, ever comfortable with. I absolutely hated what went on back then. And as I say, it's once bitten, twice shy. I also don't feel that I have to justify my own opinions on the owners. If you'd listened to my recent song, you should know what I think about David Sullivan. If you'd listened recently to what I said about Karen Brady, you should know what I think about her. You've probably heard what I've said about David Gold. I think probably in the last 30 days, I've done at least 2 or 3 videos on David Gold. My own opinions are crystal clear on the owners. I think they've done a horrendous job. Do I think? Well, not firstly, there's no way I would even cancel some CPR training to go and stand and protest outside a stadium. Would I advise? I wouldn't advise or suggest anyone should or shouldn't go there. But I tell you what, if you do feel that you need to go there and you need to have a voice, then please do so. I mean, anybody is welcome to send in a video here, and if you want to have a moan about the owners, please do. We opened up our forum to Hammers United from day one. They have had an open thread on there and an open forum to promote themselves as much as they want, and I wish them all the luck, and I really hope that they can get change. I think the fact that they have been shunned to the sidelines is actually totally reflective of the way the club is run. I think the way it's all been so fragmented with the supporters board, the OSB, with Wissa, with now Hammers United. We are such a fragmented fan base that there is a need for a unified voice. I would certainly hope that somebody can do that. My good friend John, who you may well have seen if you popped on to the food bank before the game, and he'll be there for that. And will continue to be there, was previously the chairman of Wissa. I mean, he tried so many good things, but he got a bad rap. He's just basically a good man. There have been so many people involved with so many of these different groups. It is just a real frustration that there can't just be one group. Where the club have gone wrong on this is, and with the OSB, is they are trying to control the OSB. There are some good people on the OSB. Make no mistake about it. It'll be here. He's possibly here somewhere. I'm not looking at chat. I'm looking at chat. I'll lose me a train of thought. I will look at it in a second, by the way. But we've got a regular contributor on here. Clearly a very, very good guy. He's contacted me privately. He's in the OSB. But the trouble is the board control it. The board shouldn't control the OSB. The fans should control the OSB. It's the official supporters, but why is it official? Because the club deem it to be so. The fans should be deeming what is official. And if the fans deem that it's Wissa or it's Hammers United or a collection of them all, then so be it. But it really should be nothing to do with the club whatsoever. It's said in a statement that the club need to be held accountable for their promises. Damn right. Damn right. Do I think they will? No. Do I think that the march... I'm answering questions now. I've been here before. This is what's going to get asked. Do I think the march or the protest, should we say it's a static protest? You'll have to excuse me if I keep referring to it as a march, okay? Do I think it will make a difference? I would hope it will. I think it needs to be something visual to I think maybe the point, I don't know, I'd have to speak to Paul on this. I've not spoken to him. I think it would maybe, I'm speaking on his behalf here, I'm trying to guess because I've not spoken to him, so please excuse me if I'm getting this wrong, but I think it probably needs to be visual, and the cameras are going to need to pick up on it. We need people like Sky Sports to know that that this is going on, and things like a protest bring it to a wider audience. The protest being cancelled before was, as I mentioned, was why all that stuff happened in the crowd. People were denied their opportunity to speak. And the reason, you can read in their statements, as I say, I've linked it. It's on hammerschat.com, where you're all very, very welcome to go and have a look at the forum. I would say if you were to look at hammerschat.com, I think you'd probably concede that there's far more anti-board people on there than pro-board, but I think we're just reflective of the fan base. You don't have to, I'm not just trying to create traffic for hammerschat.com. Go and look at it on Graham's site. Go and look at it on Knees Up Mother Brown as well, if you so wish, on there and contribute. It's also on a thread on there. So I think I've got a fair old grasp of what's going on, and I just feel that fans didn't have their say before, and fans want to have their say, and the club's being run so atrociously at the moment that something has got to give. Maybe I'm not surprised at the time, and maybe I am. I'm just reacting to it. I didn't even know this was happening until my mate Tony. Tony, who I do Tony I sit with during the games and do the instant reaction with me, mate Tone. He texted me earlier and said, have you had a look at this? I'd known nothing about it at all up until that point, and so perhaps I was a little bit surprised at the timing, but it got me thinking. And as I say, I don't want this video to go out tomorrow. This is tomorrow's lunchtime video, and hopefully we just enjoy the football. The false promises, I mean, he mentioned in the statement that Paul made about the 10-point pledge. I'm going to go into that. I think that will be one of my videos next week. But recently, if you remember when we had the Blowing Bubbles magazine, and David Blackmore, who runs Blowing Bubbles, interviewed David Gold. David Gold was asked whether he regretted what he said about the proximity of the seats to the pitch. He said, actually, yeah, in hindsight, I wish I hadn't have said that. And it sort of got me thinking, I wonder what else David Gold and David Sullivan wish they hadn't have said. Because very much the crux of this statement is about them delivering world-class and next level. And they've not done that. I wonder if they regret pledging that. I wonder if they could take away everything that they said at the start about the promises for us moving to the Olympic Stadium. I wonder if they could take them all back. Well, of course, they couldn't take them all back, and I'm speaking hypothetically because you can't do that. But if they hadn't promised all of that, we wouldn't have wanted to move. So they were, whether you believe they were unfortunate things that have gone wrong or just outright lies, they had to speak those words to get us to move. They had to speak them to encourage us to leave Upton Park. Also, in the state, I can't remember where I read it in the statement. I read it in the article on Claret and Hugh. I've read it. Someone's written it on the forum. I spent an hour reading it all before I came on and did this. Somebody mentioned about temporary scaffolding and tarpaulin covering it up. I think it's really important to point that out because we do get an awful lot of messages on here from people who say they don't see the problems, and particularly people that don't attend games. It's a temporary structure. The stands are a temporary structure. You're probably not going to see these pictures. You're definitely not going to see these pictures if you watch the game on Sky. I don't do the vlogs anymore, so I used to sit in a position where you could absolutely see the scaffolding. They really are. There is tarpaulin covering scaffolding. There are temporary stands. That Olympic Stadium was built to last for 25 years, by the way. So the whole structure wasn't designed to last anyway, and the temporary seating is exactly that. The carpet, a lot was made of the carpet. Why do we need a carpet? We need a carpet because it's got to cover up the multitude of sins that there. We shouldn't need a carpet. There is a really good reason that Tottenham aren't buying themselves a spanking brand new blue carpet with a massive cock on it, which is because they don't need a carpet. They got a big golden cock up the top of the stadium, of course. This is very. I don't think the board care. By the way, I think Paul's got his heart in the right place. I think everybody that's joined Hammers United got their heart in the right place. I think I think they almost have to go to the next level, because I said in a video a day or two ago with the appointment of David Moyes was the final rubber stamping that David Sullivan does not care what you think. He does not care. I've been trying to rein it in a little bit. I said on a video earlier, just out of respect for David Moyes, because he is our manager. He's got a game coming up. I'm probably giving you 30% of my opinions on his appointment, if the truth be known. I know that's not what you signed up with this channel for, but I just out of respect and I'd like. We need the points. We absolutely need the points, and I'm aware that it's caught between a rock and a hard place, because every point we get probably validates and vindicates David Sullivan's decision to appoint David Moyes. But I've kept my opinions very much to a minimum on that. But as I said, I do believe that it was the proverbial two fingers up at the fans, that if you ever wanted further evidence that David Sullivan does not care what us fans think, it was exactly that. I worry about this. What I worry about this protest, I worry that after the protest you get told what you want to hear. If you remember, there was a meeting between David Sullivan and the organisers of the previous march, and then jointly, the march was cancelled. It was just cancelled. They said we've had word from the boards that everything's going to be all right, and all our concerns are going to be met. But I said at the time, I thought the concerns were weak. One of the concerns was about the Memorial Garden. They promised to do more Memorial Garden. Nigel Khan, who I'm a massive fan of, who is a bloody good bloke, I've been banging a drum about that Memorial Garden for months and months and months before that. You can go back and see articles Nigel Khan was doing about it. Nigel Khan was already holding the board to task on that Memorial Garden, and it did need to be done. But there was a lot of things. It was about flags and branding of the stadium and different things like that. I didn't think that was really what the people were mobilising the march about. It wasn't the small stuff. So the conditions were so small that the board were able to say, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll name that Billy Bond's Way or whatever. We'll do that. There was a much bigger thing going on, and it was about us selling our soul. It was about us selling our spiritual home. It was about them not delivering, because we could even see it then that they weren't delivering. Well, you know what? They haven't delivered, and I do worry they're going to tell us what they want to hear. You may well remember, as the march was being planned, David Sullivan came out. He did an interview, and it was prior to the Watford game. We won 2-0. Go and check it out. He said he was going to completely upgrade our training facilities, our scouting network, video data analysis. You all know, if you've watched unless you've watched one of my videos for the first time, you know I don't have to tell you this stuff has not happened. He told us what we wanted to hear, and all this promise about, if you read the statement he made when he got rid of David Moyes the first time, we part company with David Moyes. We'd like to thank him for all his work. We're going to move on to bigger and better things, a more continental approach, and so on and so forth. Where's the climb down? There's no climb down from him. Where's the statement saying it's not worked? Not at any point have they come out and said, actually, we can't do this anymore. They would, I'll tell you what, they would go up in my estimations if they turn around and they were even a little bit honest. Even if they came out and said, look, we wanted to do a little bit better. The truth of the matter is we want to sell the club. We're waiting for an offer. At least Mike Ashley says he wants to sell the club. At least he does. Yet everything they do makes the club less of an asset. Every single thing. It's just less of an asset. I'm not sure why you would invest in West Ham. I'm not sure why you would buy West Ham at the moment. Almost every other club is more attractive than us. We almost don't have any assets. We don't have an asset for the ground anymore. The training ground is one of the worst around. Any owner would have a massive job to do to come in. If a new owner came in, can you imagine? We'd be saying, okay, what are you going to offer us? What are you bringing? We'd already be suspicious because we've been promised stuff before. Almost a new owner's got a promise to come in, take control of the stadium, move the seats closer permanently, and do loads of stuff, which is almost impossible. If I had no particular affiliation to any football club, and I was just looking to buy one, I'd look at West Ham and think that's too much hassle. Moving stands and revamping this, that, and the other, and that fan base are completely annoyed that they're there. Excuse me, do you know what? I've got a bit of a cough at the moment. I'll take a sugar-free. Yeah. Excuse me. It's not going to do a lot for the audio, but it's better than me coughing and spluttering all over the microphone. So anyway, we are in a terrible, terrible state. The march is going on. It would be wrong of us not to publicise it. But I'm not telling you not to go. I'm not telling you to go. You do what you want. All right. We'll make it very, very clear. Hammers Chat are not telling you what to do, but we also want to give Hammers United and anybody else the right to come on and promote their stuff and promote their march, and we will do exactly that. Because I do believe the owners need to be held to account. If someone wants to come on with a counter argument, please do. But it's getting harder and harder to make a case for these people. I cannot stand them. I cannot stand. They're terrible, terrible owners. They really are. What we're going to do in a day or two, and I've got to thank. Please excuse me. I've got to check back on this. It's a Twitter page called Sporting Mike. I want to thank at Sporting Mike. Thank you, mate. I will absolutely do the video that you suggested. The video is about an article that has come out, which is about an audit. Gio alluded to it in the video earlier. After the protest last time, David Sullivan agreed to get independent auditors in to audit the club. The report was scathing. Not an awful lot has changed since. So we're going to go through that. It doesn't matter, folks, whether you believe that they've promised this stuff and they've got it wrong, or you think they've outright lied their way through the whole thing. Surely the amount of support that still think that this has been a successful transition is just dwindling. There can't be many left. I go back to the Hammers United statement. I can't. It's quite a big statement, and rightly so. But it mentions in there that there are a lot of supporters who are still very much pro board. I don't think there are that many. I really don't think there are that many. I mean, you've got to be really... You're going to really struggle to make a case for them. And I will not ever go at anyone that wants to make a case for them, by the way. I'd like to see it. I'd even be happy to argue it out on a video. Anyway, that's that. There was something else just briefly that I wanted to talk about. An open letter from Mark Noble. I found this one. I found this one very odd. I don't know if anybody's seen it. I'll read it out. Before I do read it out, the first thing that I thought was, and I'd be interested, we're never going to know, has he done this or has he been asked to do this? Imagine it. Imagine if he has been asked. Someone saying, Mark, things are pretty crap at the moment. You're the club captain. Can you write an open letter to the fans, please? Maybe he has just decided to do it. So, I'll read it to you. if you haven't done it. I know I said I don't like reading on here, but I've got to do it, and I'm going to do it. Hello, everyone. As captain of this great football club, I want to speak directly to you, my fellow West Ham United supporters. I know that we're going through a difficult time, and the club decided to make a decision to change the manager. David Moyes knows the club. He knows a lot of the players, and the players he's worked with, myself, Manu, obviously Mini Lanzini, Angelo, Arthur, Cresswell, Deck, Reedy, Mikhail. Why is it not Mikhaili? Why is it anyway? And Zeba really liked and respected him and the way he worked when he was here. He got the players playing to their full potential, and I hope and believe that he can do it again. I know the fans are not happy with the situation we find ourselves in, but we all love and support our club, and we need to get behind the manager and try to get ourselves out of this position. The manager worked for a long time at a club that is very similar to West Ham and Everton, and you don't stay at a club for that long under the scrutiny of passionate fans unless you're good at your job. I think David is the best person for the job. My main thing is that I have always put the club before myself in my career. I just want us to do well. Last few seasons have been full of ups and downs. I just want the club to be stable. We hope that would happen with Manuel. It means Pellegrini, obviously, because he's such a great guy, has a proven managerial pedigree. But we now need to get back to what we are as West Ham United and achieve realistic targets before aiming higher. And Manuel was appointed. I was really hoping it would be that way, but it didn't work out. I enjoyed some fantastic football under him and learned so much from him and his staff. And I know they generally gutted it. It didn't work out. But I do feel like we need to walk before we can run and build something. This is. I'll read. That's terrible. Let me read the rest. We need to win football matches, and however that comes at the minute, I'll take that. Everybody knows I care for the club. I want to win so badly, not just for myself, but every West Ham fan out there. Sometimes I take pressure on my shoulders. Every time we make a mistake or concede a goal, I blame myself, rightly or wrongly, and my emotion can come out. That's why I've played at this level for so long, because I care so much. I know it's a tough time for fans, I understand that, but I do believe that we need to come together and show the manager support, start getting results, because at the end of the day, results are all that matters. Let's all hope we enjoy a happy new year. Come on, you Irons. I don't know what to say to that, really. But I did. I do wonder whether he was forced to do that. I do wonder. I'm going to jump into the chat. This one says Everton fan. I'm not being a prick, but what do West Ham fans want? You're not a big club, really. You're just a mid-table relegation fight inside. Open your eyes. You weren't going to get any better than Moyes. I'm sorry. I welcome fans on here, but I'll tell you what, my friend, right? You have got no clue. You have got no Scooby-Doo. You're applying an example to your own situation. We have been taken from our stadium. We've been taken from our spiritual home and promised that we would have Champions League football, promised that we would compete for the best players. You ask us what we want, and I'm aware that you are just coming on here and putting your, but you've jumped up in the middle of a chat. We want what was promised. We're just a mid-table relegation fight inside. Open your eyes. You weren't going to get any better than Moyes. You've completely missed the whole context. I mean, you must be living in an Everton bubble. You don't notice what's happened at West Ham over the past few years. Our owners have bled us dry. We sold our ground. Our owner sold our ground. It was flipped, and within a day, somebody made a £20 million profit. Within a day. A company was created just to buy that ground. 20 million profit was made, and it was closed down. We have been absolutely pillaged. Why we can't get any better than Moyes? We were promised better than Moyes. This is the whole point. And it's easy for you to come onto this chat and say that when it's not happened to you. Well, seriously. I would love, whatever his name is. What's his name? Farhad Mashiri? Is that his name? To come in. I wouldn't love it. I think it'd be terrible, actually. But I'll tell you what, I certainly wouldn't be popping on your podcast and gobbing off, right? But Farhad Mashiri to come in, I'm going to take Everton to the next level. I'm gonna Goodison Park's going. I'm gonna build you a new stadium. And actually, when you get to that new stadium, it ain't a new stadium at all. Actually, it used to be a dog track or something like that. You're miles away from the pitch, and then all of a sudden, when Tony Pulis has been appointed, some knobhead pops up in a chat and starts saying, "Oh, well, you're only Everton. You can't expect any better than David Moyes. You can't expect any better than Tony Pulis." This is not the context. You're not giving it any context at all. Honestly, sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I shouldn't have reacted. But you are welcome. You are welcome in here. But come on, it takes the context out. It takes the history out of the story. David Moyes is a stranger. We've seen David Moyes. They got rid of David Moyes the last time. He was getting 23% possession, having no shots sometimes. Sorry, I said I wouldn't talk about David Moyes, really, wouldn't I? That was the problem. They got rid of him. He said, we're doing better things. He said to us, we're upgrading the scouting. Video analytics centre, this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves with David Moyes again without any apology, without any explanation of why we got David Moyes again. Where's the analytics centre? None. We got less scouts than anyone else in the Premier League. One of our scouts was João Pellegrini. He's gone. The other one, we had 7. The other one was Huslos, his director of football. They're both gone. We got no scouts. That's why people are annoyed at David Moyes. We've been promised next level. They gave us a plan. Our owners gave us a precise plan of where we'd be by this point. We have, well, honestly, we have lost our daily routines. We have lost, don't sit next to the people we used to sit next to anymore. Not I mind, I sit next to lovely people at the game. But the stadium has gone. It's decimated the local businesses. We sacrificed all of that so as we didn't have to have someone like David Moyes. We thought we were getting bigger and better things. Anyway, concentrate too much on that. Sorry. Look, Mark Noble's letter. All right? Mark Noble's letter. That ties in quite well, if I say so myself, to what I was just saying. That talk about you just need to win football matches. It'll take anything like that at a minute. We've got to get back to basics. I don't know where all this has gone. I mean, there's a bit about the things I remember how well he spoke about Manuel Pellegrini, and he's not had a go at him there. He thinks that David Moyes is the best person for the job. I can't believe that's the truth, Mark. I cannot believe that's the truth. Anyway, look, I'll tell you what. Let me just I've got to go. I've got to go in a minute. I've got to go. I've got kids, chocolate, and all sorts waiting. Look, I cannot go into any more on this. I just want to say, it sounds silly me wishing you a happy new year now, doesn't it? Really, I'm surprised. I'm surprised so many people are in the chat. Quite frankly, listen, go out, enjoy yourself, stay in, enjoy yourself, whatever you're doing. I had to get this video done today though because we really must concentrate on the football tomorrow. Because believe it or not, I do want David Moyes to succeed. I do want David Moyes to win. I do want to see an attacking formation. I do want us to really make things as difficult as we can for Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, who are in a bad place. I don't want them coming up and thinking, hold on, this is exactly the game we want to get us out of our slump. They probably are. But we do have an opportunity. The team he puts out is going to tell us everything. I just don't want to get to tomorrow and have and be talking about protests, Mark Noble's letter, David Sullivan, or anything else. Right. Anyway, I'm not going. By the way, I'm not going tomorrow. My wife is away, so I'm looking after the kids, as you probably noticed. So I wish everybody that goes. I hope you have a good day. What can I say? I do wish you happy new year, though. I really do. Genuinely do. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for letting me get it all off my chest. Sorry I didn't interact with the chat a little bit more. But it's getting late. I've got to go. Love you all. Have a lovely, very happy new year. I'll see you all tomorrow. Don't forget the game is the later kickoff tomorrow. We will definitely be doing a build-up, myself and Gio. So I think the kickoff's at 5:30. So I think we'll do a video at 4:30. That will be an interesting one. Well, I say an interesting one. Listen to me telling you that our videos will be interesting. That's for you to decide. It may be a terrible video, but it should be. If it's terrible, it's because we've mucked it up. The subject matter will be interesting because the side David Moyes picks will be a lot more interesting than than Emmanuel Pellegrini side. He's going to tell us quite a lot about the direction that he wants to go in. And we're also, depending on the shape, we're all expecting that he's going to do the three at the back, aren't we? He might surprise us. But it will tell us, I think it will tell us, number one, what he wants to do. Number two, we'll probably see from within his formation what gaps we have in the squad, because obviously we've got lots of number 10s, haven't we? And we're missing in other areas. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Still got that same sweetener. It's sugar-free. Very important, but it did stop me from coughing and spluttering for 40 minutes through the video. I am going now. You take it easy. Don't get too drunk. If you do get too drunk, drink lots of water. So as you're all ready for the go, you got to drink a little cup of water in between drinks. You know, not a bad little tip there for getting over the hangovers. See you tomorrow, folks. Take care. Thanks, and appreciate you joining me on New Year's Eve call. See you soon. Take care.